Oh, hello and welcome to What Are We Talking About with Jamie Jakes. I am him, and today we are here to make you guys some money. And that is exactly what we intend to do today. I'm sitting here with some of the most brilliant football minds, all based out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And we are here to cover the divisional round of the NFL football playoffs. Yes, I realize the NFL stands for National Football League, and that is redundant, but who cares? I'm happy to be with all of you today, except for the man sitting right beneath me, Mr. James. James, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. What have I done to offend you? What could I have possibly done? Little old me?
Because last week when we were recording together, just a twosome of an episode, a couples episode, you and I, previewing the wild card round of the playoffs, I asked you if my mic sounded good, and this is what my mic sounded like.
Hey, that's about as good as the Cowboys played this last weekend.
Oh,
mic drop.
So, James, I appreciate you, but do you hear the difference between these two microphones now?
I do now. And, as I talked about earlier, logistically, my headphones were being paired as you said that. So I went from my computer's internal speaker to my headphone speaker, and therefore the quality had improved.
Got it.
Within my own system. So
understood.
I'll take the blame. That's 100% my fault, but I'm going to tell you what occurred to make that happen. I appreciate it. Might have gone to too many raves in my younger years in my hearing.
James, are you ready to handicap some football games or what, buddy?
I am. I might seem like I'm a handicapped person after you see my picks, but we'll see.
Okay. Love that thought process. That laugh is coming from the kitty corner to me. At Miss Most Days Off, Miles Francis back on the show again. How are you doing, buddy?
Stoked, dude. I'm entering my cat dad era. I'm the Taylor Swift of this podcast moving forward. So we'll just pan to me periodically when things are moving slow, and I'll just be doing what I'm doing, and ratings will boom, and it'll be great.
And you purchased the cat, right? It was a $1,400 cat that you bought from a breeder.
Yeah, I always preach shop, don't adopt. We have enough living animals in this world. We should put a few more down. No, I absolutely adopted from a rescue. I did a comedy show last week, which was to benefit dogs and cats that needed homes. And I knew going in that I was not going to leave that show without a pet, which I actually successfully did. I did get home without adopting any pets. That lasted all the way until Monday when I went to the shelter, and I, of course, didn't adopt a cat. I adopted two. So it's been a good week.
Congratulations, new cat dad. Taking that all the way around town to Mr. Ryan Perrio. Thank you for being on again. Excited to have you.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's nice to see Miles turning into his cat lady phase and becoming a Bond villain. Like he's gonna make cat pics like stroking his cat like Blofeld from James Bond, just slowly. Just I believe Dr. Evil, even that he could be Mr. Bigglesworth.
With that being said, let's get to talking about football, starting with the odds to win the Super Bowl as Vegas sees it right now. The Niners, not having played football at all, but having the Cowboys taken out of their conference, have moved from plus 200 range to now plus 175 at most sports books. Ravens, Bills, Chiefs, Lions, all the way down here, followed by the Packers, the Texans, and in last place, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This seems like the list in that I would put it in. This seems like just about the right order. Interesting, 3 AFC teams pooled here, and the NFC now that the Cowboys are gone. Not many believers in them outside of the 49ers, who is the number 1 seed.
I still don't believe in the Chiefs for what it's worth. I think you have I know this is your list, but I feel like as a non-Lions fan, The Lions are getting shafted here. The Chiefs have only beat a great team when they had every advantage stacked against them. The Lions have faced adversity all season long and showed that they might be the real deal. So I would at the very least flip-flop those two.
Yeah, they definitely have a better track record of beating really good teams, Miles, the Lions do, over the Chiefs. I think this is just not a representation of what we're seeing this season. I think this is more of a representation of what we have seen over several years with Andy Reid and Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City and their success in the playoffs, despite maybe some down games in the regular season. And I guess people aren't totally sold on the brand new Lions. That being said, very close in terms of the actual odds, 750 versus 850. And there's a big drop off after that with the Packers, of course, the Lions being the massive favorite in that.
Well, now that I see the odds, sorry, I'll say one more thing and shut up on this. But now I see the odds, I don't understand why we all aren't investing on the Baker bandwagon right now. That's guaranteed money.
Guaranteed money. So the Buccaneers would have to go through Detroit this week, and then they would get the winner of the Packers and the 49ers. I don't know if the Buccaneers have enough firepower to beat the Niners unless the Niners sustain a massive injury, which they have been known to in the playoffs. So I guess what I'm saying, and that's probably what you're saying, Miles, is there's a chance.
There's always a chance, dude. It's worth a buck or two to put on Baker Mayfield, dude. That's what we always say on this podcast.
Yeah, we're saying there's a chance. James, do you think anything about this list?
I hate all of these odds. The odds are atrocious. If you're betting futures, don't do any of these. These are atrocious. 175 for a future at this point is ridiculous.
Yeah,
I mean, the only thing that I would touch is maybe Packers 3,000. Like that's the only one I hear that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So if I had to take a force bet on this,
gun to your head, like we're in the Saw movie franchise, and he's like, the game is.
Yeah, gun to my head, I would take the Ravens and the Bills. I wouldn't take one or the other. I would take both of them.
Are they going to tie? Are they going to share a trophy?
Well, no, it's just a math thing.
You can hedge in the Super Bowl. I see.
It's just a math thing because if you make two bets that are plus 200 or better, if one of them hit, you win. With that being said, not a massive payoff if the Ravens win the Super Bowl. You kind of just get bailed out at that point. And the Ravens sought to win 3 back-to-back games, one assuming against the favorites, the Niners. So you still can't feel great about it, which is just a testament to why this is such a shitty group of odds. Ryan Perry, do you have any thoughts on this?
It's wild improvement from the Texans preseason ranking, which was was a 20,000 1 in 20,000 chance. It is mind blowing to think that have a turnaround of a franchise to that standard. Like I'm sure people were like double taking, this whole season for this team. I'm just blown away by by that, and I'm just blown away by the Packers. And just to me, this year's this playoff seems like defenses win championships is now dead. That philosophy is now dead. It is all about ball control and play design. If you can hold the ball and score points, you win. It's no longer about just holding people down. It's just holding onto the football and keeping these elite offenses off the field.
Especially now that they're going to outlaw every single style of tackle from the defensive back position. That's going to be problematic for a lot of defenses.
Let's not start that. We'll be here all week.
It'll take this conversation longer than it will to take down somebody in the NFL.
Save that goal for the off-season podcasts.
Yeah, that's cool for the off-season.
I do have a notes section in my phone right now that are like off-season topics. And way to keep us on point there, James. That's a good would that be a directing credit for James, director of the episode? Appreciate that. Speaking of the Texans are going into Baltimore, and they are going to be facing the Baltimore Ravens. Last week, what I learned about the Texans is Nico Collins is really, really fast. That's really what I have in my notes. Nico Collins fast. And then what I have for the Ravens is Are they rested or are they rusty? Which, of course, is going to be the same question I ask about the 49ers. I would argue that the Ravens are more susceptible to rust than the Niners, which would make me want to bet the Texans. With that being said, the Ravens love blowing teams out, especially at home. So that's going to be a lean for me, dog. Houston Texans plus 9.5. We're going to move Mr. James all the way up to the top of the ladder.
My
and
favorite
Miles
spot.
to the bottom. Sorry, buddy. Mr. James, what are your thoughts on this one?
Best for last. I get it. I've got the worst takes, therefore I got to go first. I have the over in this game. I have the over 43.5. There have been some reports of 18-mile-an-hour winds. Some of us pay for the Weather Channel premium, and I'm getting 12 to 8 during this game. So I think both of these teams' offenses are going to be ready to roll. Loved what I saw of the Texans' offense last weekend. I may have been on Bourbon Street a couple hurricanes deep, but from what I could see, they look good. I think this Ravens team is going to come out, going to have a lot of good drives. Mark Andrews participated in practice this week. I don't know if he makes an impact, but just the fact that he's on the field for a couple of plays, you still have to guard him. So I think this 43.5 is very susceptible to go over, and I think it could go over within 3 quarters.
There is another Baltimore Raven, now that you mention it, that is a veteran who's expected to play for this game from the running back position named Dalvin Cook. He's 28 years old. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but he's going to be playing for the Ravens in this game. So I would definitely take a tasty little peek if you can find a bet for his over-under rushing yards, and I'd just hammer it and probably take his touchdown prop too. Literally whatever it is. I think it's going to be Dalvin Cook season in the playoffs. That's just my opinion. Ryan Perrio, what do you think?
I also agree with James. I'm going to take the over. My God, how much CJ Stroud has developed from week one to now. Because week one against this Ravens team, he went 28 for 44 for 242 yards. And then against the number one defense in the league, he literally shredded them. They had no answer. Like the Nico Collins play at the beginning of the game where he just found him running wide open on Craig Newsome was his third read. That was the third read on that play. That is just astounding for a rookie to be able to go bing, bing, and with a free rusher coming into his grill. Wasn't Miles?
With
it was
Miles
Owusu.
Garrett chased him down.
Yeah, it was Owusu Koromoa on that play, though, I think, that got to him and hit him.
No, but I'm saying he's got poise in the pocket when Miles Garrett is trying to rip his head off, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, JOK was all over the place, too.
Yeah. So I'm really excited as a Texans fan to see this feels like this is a cool way to see, if you have a rookie quarterback, to go back against the team that you started with to see how you stack up now is just a really cool thing for me. I believe it's going to go over. I'm hoping for a Texans win, but if they cannot stop the run, Baltimore is going to do what Indianapolis did to them, which is just basically run the ball until you tackle somebody. Now, do they have a Jonathan Taylor? No. But I believe they are going to try and get Houston's defense basically trying to play the run. And we'll see where that goes.
So you're taking the over there?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's interesting out of you because you two agree. But Ryan, you were the one pounding the drum of like, hey, this Texans defense is actually really, really good, especially late in the season. So I get that there's a lot of offensive weapons on the Baltimore side of things. That's interesting that you believe in the over that strongly. Miles, what do you think, buddy?
I think that you guys are overlooking the biggest belief in this whole system, which is CJ Stroud's belief in the Lord. He's been very actively praising God and telling him he's praying for the victory. So if you're a man of faith, I think you put your money on the Houston Texans. If you're a sane person, I think you avoid this game at all costs.
Mr. Miles Francis there, that's just a cheeky little thing that he said. Not really advice, but I do appreciate it. Hey, as someone who edits TikToks together, man, sometimes you got to cut the fluff out. I think whoever was editing that probably had a similar mindset to you. So they cut that fluff out. I don't know if you guys are even understanding the reference I'm making, but
yeah, dude, you don't have time for that.
We don't have time for it. You know what we do have time
That's
for?
a really long discussion. We were talking about the tackling.
You know what we have time for, guys? The Packers and the 49ers. We have time to talk about this game. Jordan Love, I've said it a million times. One of my patients that I talk to football a lot about said today that she heard on Colin Cowherd about how he was saying that we've seen like all 4 years of Jordan Love's progression in one season. And that's what I've been saying on the podcast this whole time. And I don't know if that makes me feel good about it because I don't like Colin Cowherd. But anyways, maybe he's listening to the show. Who knows? We have seen every single Jordan Love progression year, right? We've seen his rookie year, his rookie breakout, his sophomore slump, his third-year bounce back, and now we're just in the Jordan Love era of the Packers, it feels like. Even with all that, the Niners, I think, are rested. That we know the Niners can kick your ass as long as they're healthy. Getting that extra break, I don't think will hurt them that much as potentially the Ravens will. So for that reason, I'm entirely off this game. I don't want to bet against Jordan Love to not cover a 9.5-point spread. And I don't want to bet against the Niners in the night to cover this 9 points. So either way, I don't like it. Jordan Love's too good, and so are the Niners when they're healthy. They're too good on both sides, and 9.5 seems about right. So I'm entirely off it. James, what are your thoughts on this one?
She might be the only female viewer of Colin Cowherd. That's impressive. You found the one. I have taken 330 from the Packers here. I don't think the Packers are going to win this game, but I think 330 is incorrect. My ultimate plan here is to grab a Niners alternate at a minus 13.5, which will probably end up being like plus 130, plus 145. Because I think this game is either going to be back and forth, last play of the game wins it, or the Niners are just going to absolutely run through them. Like, that was not a good analogy that I was going to say. But
no, don't worry, dude. Jamie's mom doesn't listen to this podcast.
No. Miss Jakes, I'd like to be invited to Thanksgiving next year. No. They'll run through them very easily, is exactly what I was going to say. I think it's either a blowout or I think it's really close. I don't think 9.5 is what's going to be either way. Like, I don't think one team wins by 10 points. Like, I think either the Niners win by 21 or it's going to be last play. Packers have an opportunity to throw it into the end zone for a touchdown. Interesting.
Mr. Ryan, what do you think on this one?
The only thing I would even glance at is the under. I think that this game is going to be more ball control. I think, unlike the Cowboys, the Niners can run the football, so that's going to take a lot of clock away from the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love. I think it's the master versus student, because if I'm not mistaken, Matt LaFleur was a Shanahan disciple, or was he a McVay disciple? Either way, both from the same school. I think Kyle Shanahan just has a leg up as far as his mastery of what his father has put forth in the NFL. And some of his running game when he was with the Falcons was just mind blowing. Just the formations and just the amount of space that he's able to create. So I just see the 49ers buckling down. They've been sitting at home saying, "Hey, don't let this Philadelphia like last year happen again. Let's go ahead and show everybody what we can do," and they're just going to turn it loose.
Right? Yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
I also think that 49ers defense is way better than the Cowboy defense. I think Cowboys played tendencies, and Romeo Doubs just basically exploited Gilmore's tendency to try to undercut every route. And he was like, "Oh, maybe I'm not going that way," and just went the other way and was unbelievably wide open.
Yeah, and two of the best running backs in the league too. And running backs, what do? They chew clock, right? And I get the Niners' offense is explosive, and so is the Packers' offense is explosive. But yeah, that if I had a force bet, I would definitely take that under 50.5. That did kind of jump out to me as a tad too high, despite these two, great offenses. And one of these defenses might just shut the other team down, and obviously that would be the 49ers side of things. Miles, what do you think on this one, buddy?
I'm with you guys on the under. 50 is a lot of points. I know these guys have explosive offenses, but to all the points you already made, the clock is going to run a lot in this game. I also think there's a lean for me to want to bet on the 49ers here, but I felt the same way about the Cowboys last week, and we all saw how that went. I do think, though, that the 49ers probably did watch that game and, like everyone else in America, kind of had a what the fuck jaw drop moment. So that makes me think maybe that extra week of rest combined with the extra week of preparation is probably going to favor them in the long run. But I think that we're going to see a lot of Christian McCaffrey, and we're going to see a lot of clock just ticking away.
Yep. I totally agree. So it sounds like we're pretty heavy on that under. I'm really interested. I'm excited to see this one, just because I want to see if the Packers are for real and Jordan Love is for real. We know Aaron Jones is for real, but man, oh man, how cool would it be if the Packers just went into San Francisco and took out the Niners, and then we're playing the Lions at Detroit for the NFC Championship, which brings us to Sunday, Buccaneers at Detroit. So Detroit was cheering for the Packers this week because when the Packers won, that guaranteed them the home playoff game in the following divisional round after the Lions would win, right? So kind of funny, that the Lions were fighting for that 2 seed so hard because they could have potentially run into that Green Bay Packers buzzsaw and kind of got lucky that the referee screwed them out of that play in Detroit, and in Dallas, a game I was at. So kind of funny how the tables have turned all the way around. Of course, Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers are heavy underdogs, and why wouldn't they? They have been very, very hit and miss all season. They've been able to keep games close, and they've been able to win close games, which is why Baker Mayfield has been our podcast MVP, because when you give us Baker Mayfield and a couple of points, you got to take Baker Mayfield in those couple of points. However, we all know, or at least I know, that Baker Mayfield requires a great running game to be able to operate efficiently from the quarterback position. That's why in a lot of these close games, when they can run the ball, Baker Mayfield is highly successful. When a team can stop the run, which the Lions can stop the run, it makes me feel a lot worse about Baker Mayfield's opportunities. And that's why I can't bet on the Buccaneers at +6. On the other side of things, I also can't bet on the Lions to cover that 6.5 point spread, because 6.5 points is a lot of points. And I'm afraid of Mike Evans. So I'm entirely off of this. James, what are your thoughts?
I haven't been afraid of Mike Evans since he was playing with Johnny Manziel. I took the Lions ultimate line here. I grabbed -7 at +105. I think this is a blowout. I think this is like me after eating Taco Bell at 3 a.m. My toilet's getting blown out, and that's what's going to happen with the Lions and the Buccaneers here. It's going to be an absolute blowout. As Miles was saying earlier, if you're a religious person, you might want to turn home and go back to church after watching the first couple quarters of this. It's not going to be close. It's just not going to be close.
Ryan, what do you think?
Well, I want to ask you a question first, Jamie, as a Detroit Lions fan. If the Packers do upset the Niners, as a Detroit fan, do you want that smoke after Thanksgiving Day? Do you want that Packers smoke coming to Detroit? Or does that make you super nervous?
Over the alternative. Everything makes me nervous. It's the Detroit Lions. So I guess my question would be compared to the Niners, seeing the Niners at San Francisco, I would be ecstatic if the Packers win in, and okay. And not to say I want to get anybody injured, right? But like I see a scenario. We all have seen the scenario where the Niners get injured in the playoffs and they collapse, and maybe a team that wasn't as good before the kickoff happened is all of a sudden way better than the Niners because they have a quarterback or whatever. Like rules have been made because of how the Niners get injured in the playoffs. So in that sort of scenario, I would love to see. So yes, I'll be cheering for the Packers. Don't feel good about it in any way, but I would love to see the Packers in the NFC Championship game. But hey, I'm getting like tingles on the back of my neck just thinking about it. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's
grab that plus
focus on
330 if you're rooting for the Packers. Come on, triple your money while you're at it.
Just me actually, like, realistically looking at my Lions team as a 6.5 point favorite in the divisional round of the playoffs, go to the NFC Championship. I get to see my team in the NFC Championship. Like, I don't want to believe that it's true because I'm not ready for the disappointment. Miles, what are your thoughts on this one?
I'm thinking you might actually get one of those banners that actually matter in your stadium this season at some point.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
No, this game's tough for me, dude, because it's like kind of the, going back to everything. Could C.J. Stroud's God create a mountain so large that he himself could not move it? What happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object? Baker Mayfield has been the man this season. But I mean this sincerely, 100% sincere. The most fun I had this entire NFL season was sitting next to Jamie Jakes on Sunday during the Cowboys-Green Bay game where he really kind of zoned out and was just sick in his stomach, worried about the Lions. But then to see it all come full circle and the Lions to win in a playoff game and the first time in his lifetime, to watch a grown man and his cousin that I just met cry. For all of those reasons, I'm not going to bet this game. I'm just going to let this be a religious experience on its own right.
It sure will. Yes, if you want to see my cousin Jonathan and I cry, we do have it posted for free on the internet on this YouTube channel, so you can check that live stream out. Ryan Perrio, did you get all your thoughts in on this game?
I did not. I would say take the over because both of these pass defenses are suspect. And I think it could become a shootout similar to the Rams-Lions game because Mark Brunell, Puka Nacua were cooking against this team down to the wire. So I could see this game it may not be like super close, but I could see it going 24-17, 24-20, 31-17, 31-24. I could see it going. I could see big plays going back and forth in the passing game on both of these teams. So I could see.
For the record, all of the numbers you just said were under. Just to be clear, every example you gave was under.
I didn't say what quarter we were in. Okay, we could have been the first.
31-24 got it. 31-24 got it.
Got it. There you go.
He's 55 on 31-24. Come on.
Now that we're talking about it, I'm thinking
math. How does it work?
No,
like
I'm not.
magnets,
obviously
bro.
not. That's obviously not what I'm thinking. What I'm thinking to myself is, what have the Lions done defensively? They've given up plays defensively through the air. Do they give it to everybody on the defense? No. Or on the offense? No. They give it to one guy. The number one wide receiver always absolutely exploits the Lions, right? CeeDee Lamb caught for like 400 yards against them. Puka Nacua, we just saw in a loss where Puka Nacua caught for, I think, a rookie playoff record or something.
Yeah, like 180.
Who was I afraid of earlier? Does anybody remember?
Mike Evans.
I thought you said everyone.
Mike Evans has an over-under for receiving yards of 70.5 is the best that you can find. How's that sound? He's gonna catch for double that. He's gonna catch for 150.
He's gonna take one of those hits below the knee, and he's gonna be out in the first quarter.
No, that's only the tight ends.
Oh,
I think you got to bet Mike Evans, and I think you got to parlay that with Dalvin Cook to score a touchdown and his rushing over. And
anytime TD or first TD. You want to really gamble?
Anytime.
Okay.
Dalvin Cook.
Not getting too wild.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mike Evans for like every year of his career reaching 1,000 receiving yards. He's the only receiver to do that, like over a decade now of 1,000-yard seasons. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's first ballot Hall of Famer because of that. There are no odds on Dalvin Cook available at the moment, so keep an eye out for that. Anytime touchdown score, you might want to keep an eye out for that one as well. But the Mike Evans one is currently available, and one that I am going to officially recommend on this podcast. That's a good little conversation that we had there. Glad that we did have it. Moving on to the big one. The Sunday night game on the 21st. The Buffalo Bills are going and playing home game against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are 2.5-point underdogs. James, I have a question for you.
Okay.
What's the weather going to be like?
The weather, I hear, is going to be very cold. I was going to make that joke about the Detroit game because of the press conference the other day. I don't know if you saw that. It's going to be chilly. They've already talked about moving this game again. Play it at a neutral site if that happens. That's ridiculous. The one thing I can tell you, it's going to be cold. It's going to be like -8 and snowy.
Oh.
You know this based on the fact
-8?
you're putting on this jersey.
-8, you said? It's going to be snowy.
Do you want me to go more? Do you want -10?
Yeah, keep saying stuff.
-12.
About the weather.
-13. Wind chill. -20.
Pretty.
Do they talk with that voice? Do they talk with that voice on
Getting
the
pretty
Weather Channel
chilly in
Premium?
here.
I wish they did.
Uh-oh. You can see my computer screen.
Oh, you got to close a couple tabs there.
Yeah, bro. You should have thought this through before you got the reflective glass on.
You know what that means.
Feet finders on there.
I'm taking
It looks like VR porn right now.
the Buffalo Bills
The Bills!
to kick the shit out of the Kansas City Chiefs because it's going to be cold. Did I buy snow goggles because I was jealous of people who had snow goggles watching football this weekend? Yes. Okay. Did it have to do with me force betting the Buffalo Bills? Maybe. The Bills are red hot right now. Josh Allen is red hot right now. The Chiefs have been suspect, especially late in the season. What have they done? They just won one game. Okay. They've won one game. So I am forced to go ahead and take the Buffalo Bills to cover this 2.5. And that's a gimmick bet for me, you guys. James, what do you think on this game?
That's a gimmick bet. Well, speaking of gimmicks, got the script.
Uh-oh.
It's big for the playoffs. Divisional round,
Double
the script gets bigger.
Oh, wow.
One of these ways is right. So this is going to be a very interesting game. Because if you remember, there's been a lot of rule changes with Josh Allen. He's initiated a lot of rules. One of those rule changes is if a team scores in overtime, the other team gets to get one possession in the playoff. So this game is not only going to go to overtime. The Bills are going to win the toss. They're going to go the length of the field. They're going to score. Buffalo's going to go crazy. There's going to be snowballs everywhere.
Oh,
Which should be a penalty, by the way, if you're throwing snowballs at people while they're trying to catch the ball. Saying NFL, not. The Chiefs are going to drive down the field. They're going to score a touchdown. Everyone's going, oh, my God, they're going to kick a field goal. They don't. They come out in the Travis Kelce, holding the ball, direct snap to Travis, right side, tush push. Rashid Rice just gives him a good old shove. Touchdown, Travis Kelce. 2-point conversion, Travis Kelce. The crowd's going wild. We cut to Taylor Swift. She's crying with Mama Kelce. That is how this game is going to end. So I have the Chiefs +120.
I thought Travis Kelce was going to throw a pass to Patrick Mahomes, and that was on script one, but we got in the conference call and said it was a little too much, guys. A little bit too close. Yeah,
save that for the next round.
So that's a double gimmick bet, but one of the gimmicks on the Buffalo Bills this is my first real gimmick bet of the podcast, and it's the divisional round of the playoffs. We're doing it every single week except week 1, and that's one gimmick on the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't want to be against the script writers on this one because we know Taylor Swift is a great writer. Ryan Perrio, what are your thoughts on this one?
That script gave me Peter, like Princess Bride vibes, where the grandpa's reading the love story to his grandson for no reason. But I believe this is going to be the Buffalo Bills game. This is going to be the redemption game for the Tyreek Hill get 80-something yards in 2 seconds that they did to kick a winning field goal. I think this is good. They've geared this to where Josh Allen is going to be the NFL MVP as well as, just playoff MVP. At least they're going to get to the AFC Championship game. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think it's going to be Josh Allen again with another ridiculous play at crunch time where he literally just elevates and does something that no other human besides maybe Patrick Mahomes can do. And it's going to come down to Josh Allen, and he's going to win it.
That's 2 bets for the Buffalo Bills, 1 on the Chiefs. Miles, take us home.
It's all Bills, baby. James,
Oh, yeah.
I think you misread your script because you're right about everything up until the point where Travis Kelce actually has the ball ready to throw the pass. He's going to take a moment. He's going to look up to Bay in the booth. She's going to be sitting there like the video, "You Belong to Me," with a notepad, and it's just going to say, she's already bought the tickets. They're flying to wherever the hell rich people go this time of year. And the Buffalo Bills, will see you next week because the Chiefs are going home.
Oh, wow. That's 3 bets on the Buffalo Bills. But
let's call it a no-brainer. Fuck it.
Oh! That's
Cat
2
man.
gimmicks versus yours. And just a regular Ryan Perrio bet, which is worth a gimmick in itself. So
Ryan, throw like a fruit or something. Do like a come on, give us something. Throw the fruit. Oh, it's a fruit bet. No, it's a lemon.
It's actually an apple, but
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Squirt mustard on yourself. Just kidding. That is big.
We saw what tabs you had open. You don't have to keep like doubling down on this.
That has been What Are We Talking About with Jamie Jakes. I am him. You can follow me at JMJKS on X. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're going to be doing live streams, I think, for the both early games in the slate. That is pending if we can get Ryan Perrio.
oh, we're down. We're coming.
Here we go. Okay, so that's
Down
confirmed.
Jersey.
We're doing Saturday. We're doing the Texans game live on the YouTube channel. We'll figure out where Miles fits in. We'll figure out if James can get a what's it called, the permission slip to come hang out with us, and
I'll pass.
and we'll have a good time. Yep. Subscribe. Yada yada yada. Not a public figure. Is an NFL insider. James, would you like to tell the audience anything or break any news about the future head coaching position of the Michigan Wolverines?
No, Bill O'Brien just got hired as Ohio State's offensive coordinator. On this podcast.
Really?
So feel free to go ahead and if you can find Ohio State's in the playoffs at any dollar amount, just take it because he's atrocious. No, I'll be in Tuscaloosa this weekend helping restore the program. I got some meetings that I have to go to, unfortunately. So I won't be making the podcast, but I'll be ensuring that the boar has a good start to his year. So,
good. Make sure make sure the kids get paid.
I'm literally bringing a cargo van of cash because Dodge Chargers aren't being made anymore, so we're kind of fucked there. I mean,
Have you seen his record, like Kit DeBoer's record? Like when he was in Division I, all he did was lose 3 games his whole career before he moved to Washington. At his previous stop at, I think it was it North Dakota State?
I don't know.
I remember it was like Division.
Ryan, why are you telling me that?
But he was like, he had 3 losses his whole time, and they're like, nobody looked at him for a coaching opportunity. Washington hired him. He's like absolutely dominated at Washington. It's been really impressive to see what he's been able to do. So I'm excited to see what he does in Tuscaloosa. It's a new day.
And that is Ryan Perrio at Ryan Perrio's thoughts on the college football landscape at the moment. Do you have anything to tell the audience, Mr. Ryan?
I will be at Dallas Comedy Club the next 2 Friday nights. I will be there January 19th with This Just Happened, a news comedy show. And then I'll be on South by Southwest with Emily Griefer on 127.
Sweet. Thank you for being on as always. And Mr. Most Days Off, Miles Francis, thank you for being on as well. What do you have to tell the audience?
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here, man. Congrats again on the Lions victory. Excited to see you watch more of them this season. You can follow me everywhere at Mr. Most Days Off. And if you live in a rural, redneck Texas town, there's a good chance I'm coming to perform for you in the next couple of weeks. So follow me on there and come see some comedy. Some good rural comedy. I'll leave you guys on this thought. I got an offer to potentially put a show on
in a Harley Davidson?
Hell yeah. 100% you should do that.
Was.
Yeah.
That was my answer. Exactly. Thank you guys, and good night.